Hello everybody and welcome back. And the last time we left the party, they had just crossed this bridge, which was in effect a tunnel made out of a fossilized tree trunk, well petrified. There is another door at the end here. Liz doesn't hear anything, so it's up to Carrick with his 14 hit points to open up this door. And it opens up into yet another of these large chambers made up of fossilized trees with the walls in between. When they get into this room, the most obvious thing to see, well in fact they hear it first, are three giant ferrets in this little niche here. Now we haven't come across a giant ferret before, so let's just have a quick look. Armor class 5, hit dice 1+1. They look like 3-foot long weasels. In fact, they might look quite cute. They hunt giant rats underground. Unfortunately, their tempers are highly unpredictable and have been known to attack their trainers and other humans. Right, so it's just an animal. The thing about these ferrets, there are 3 of them, and they immediately react to the party coming in. They bare their teeth, they start salivating, and their tongues hang out, they're panting. And to anybody who has seen a dog before, this is a sign that they are hungry. I don't think between the 5 of us, any of us are going to ignore the obvious signs. If you were playing this with a party and a DM, I think the DM would make enough of a description to make it clear these giant ferrets want something, because they scuttle out of their little kennel and start scurrying around the ankles of the party members, looking up and snarling and again panting. This is pretty disconcerting because they have very sharp teeth. Carrick, who's at the front, is going to take out one portion, which is 1 day of hard rations, and that is essentially dried meat, and he's going to throw it over to here. And sure enough, that does seem to work because the 3 ferrets run over to the dried meat and start tearing on it. Now the bad news is 5 more giant ferrets come running out of here, smelling the meat, and start to go for it, but the meat doesn't take long before it's eaten. So more of them start running around the ankles of the party, and we have to lose another day of rations trying to feed this lot. Apart from the giant ferrets, there isn't much else in this room except for a door here. So let's listen at this door. And Liz doesn't hear anything. So Carrick, now do remember he is on double speed. And we still have a bless spell. A bless spell lasts for 6 turns, so that is still operational. And he opens the door. And he finds himself in what is still obviously sort of goblin furnitured room. As soon as he opens the door, he's met with 3 creatures here. They look like hobgoblins, but they're standing there with a vacant stare in their eyes. Yet despite that, their heads turn to look at Carrick. These are Thulls. We have seen a Thull before, under the monastery from Guido's fort. And these Thulls attack on sight. Right, who gets initiative? And we get initiative. Malin is not going to throw a throwing dagger. So we've got 3 ranged people. Let's do Sylvia. +1 for short range, -1 for Carrick being in the way, so she misses. Liz also misses. Donard also misses. Luckily, none of them fumbled. The interesting thing, even though a Thull is meant to be partially a ghoul, there's nothing to say they can be turned by a cleric. Carrick misses with his first attack, hits with the second attack, but does not kill one. He did 13 damage. This Thull will regenerate 1, so that is 12. It's down to 3 HP. Now it's their go. The first one hits him for 8 points. Now he has to make a saving throw. The second one misses. And the third one misses. Now Carrick has to make a saving throw versus paralysis. And he does make it. He needs an 8 and that's 10. Round number 2. And they get initiative. That's a hit for 3 points. That's a miss. And that's a miss. Liz. Oh, because Liz hit something. She hits AC 6. They have AC 6. She does 5 damage. That's enough to take down that Thule. Sylvia. Misses. Donard. Donard is going to switch to melee. Carrick gets 2 attacks. He misses with 1, but the other attack he does 14 damage. And the Thule regenerates 1, so it's up to 2. Right, there are 2 of them left. Okay, let's roll for round number 3. And we get initiative. Right, we need to kill these. Donard's on melee. We'll do Liz. Oh my god. And she hits Carrick from the back of the head for 1 point. Sylvia finally hits and kills the damaged one. Donard is going to go in with his mace, which does +2 against the undead. But these really aren't undead. Right, well he hits and he does a massive 10 damage. It's down to 5. And Carrick. Well, he hits with this one because he hits AC 6. And I forgot the bless spell as well. Even though I've got a post-it note with the bless spell on it, it wouldn't have made any difference. There was no fights here that were decided with a +1. So he kills the 3rd and final Thule, and he is on 1 HP. Donard is on 5, Sylvia is on 8, and Liz is on 14, and Malin is on 14. Okay, we'll take a break, get a breather, see if there is a healing potion left, and we'll examine this area. This room is a bed chamber and it has some furniture in it, and it is of higher quality than you would expect from the rest of the Goblin Lair. Right, now Carrick is going to back off, as is Donard. Liz is going to go in first and she's going to be supported by Sylvia. The room is empty, however, they're going to try and examine it for a treasure chest, a compartment. This is the sort of thing that they've become used to, and sure enough, they do find a secret door. Liz is going to search it for traps, and she gets 35. She doesn't find any traps, and much to her surprise and Sylvia's, it is trapped. And from above they hear crashing sound, and one of these stone branches comes down, and it hits Liz for 8 points. She's down to 6. She can make a saving throw versus Dragon's Breath, which she fails to do. She's down to 6. And it hits Sylvia for 5 points. She fails her saving throw. She's down to 3. We don't have any healing potions left. So what have we got in terms of treasure? What was in it? Was it worth that? Inside the compartment is a locked chest containing 2,000 gold pieces and 5 gems, 500 gold pieces each, and a quiver with 5 arrows +2. Well, everybody rushes in to see what the crashing sound was, and there is Sylvia and Liz sort of half staggered underneath this falling branch, so everybody has to pick bits of broken stone off them. Right, now the small treasure chest is quite heavy. Liz can't unlock it, but Sylvia, with some foresight, has memorized a knock spell, so she is able to unlock the chest and we can see what's inside. Now they're going to go back all the way to the throne room and then they're going to speak to Babushka. They're going to close this door behind them because they don't want the giant ferrets to attack them. The giant ferrets have gone to sleep. They seem to have been satisfied with the rations. And they go back to this room and they're going to look over the throne for another treasure chest. This one isn't too hard to discover. It's just underneath the seat of the throne. So they lift up the cushions and there is a bag with 500 gold pieces, a broken coronet with all but one of the gems removed, valued 250 gold pieces, and a potion of delusion. We'll have to see what one of those is, and a shield +2. That looks like a really good shield. Right. What is a potion of delusion? I don't know what a potion of delusion is, but there is a ring of delusion. The wearer will believe this to be any one other ring. Roll again. However, it has no real effect. The wearer will not be convinced otherwise until a remove curse is used to dispel the enchantment. So I can guess that a potion of delusion is a false potion. Oh no, there is one, sorry. Oh yes. The user will believe this to have the effect of one other potion. Roll again, however it has no real effect. Well, I can work that one out later. Right, so we're going to go back into this room and rescue this old woman Babushka. Of course, we can finally talk to her. We've cleared out this entire lair and she has some things to tell us. We're going to give her some rations. She was captured during the goblin raid on Cherkas. They were brought to the Wolfskull Lair and put in a cell. Later they were joined by 5 other prisoners, including Piotr's brother Stephen. This is who we're looking for. The goblins seem to be under the command of a big hobgoblin called Vlak. We have killed him. The hobgoblins and the goblins wanted to know where the Great Map was, but the prisoners did not know. This is the first mention we have of the Great Map, and the plot of this adventure hinges on this Great Map. A few days ago, some goblins wearing iron collars arrived and took the prisoners away to the old ruins in Zitaka, where old skinny legs would get some answers from them. Babushka, a scrawny old woman who'd only slow us down, was left behind. So yes, they didn't want her. Their loss, our gain. Right, these iron collars suggest the Iron Ring to us. Zitaka, we have no idea where that is. This, the Great Map, all of this seems to hinge on the fact they wanted to know where the Great Map was. Is that what all of these goblin raids has been about? Probably. Well, we know that Stephen has been taken to Zitaka, so finally we have a location, even if we don't have the guy himself. Right, it's time to leave this god-awful place, find somewhere to rest overnight, because we need healing badly, and make our way back to Sukiskin and, well, again report that we haven't found Stephen, we've just gotten closer. So we'll leave the lair by this bridge. That will take us onto a trail to the Viper Goblin Lair, which we've been to before, and we can find a way from there to the edge of the forest and then back to Sukiskin. This combat has taken a long time. We're still on Solidane, the 18th of Flamont. We've done a lot of travelling and we've gone through this calendar quite a bit, but however, these last couple of sessions have all been on this day. I actually think we'll be safer to sleep in the Goblin Lair. We have doors we can close, there's a bridge we can guard, and we have cleared it out. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to rest inside the lair and we're going to wake up tomorrow morning and we are going to do some serious healing. Right, we'll see what happens then. So the party are going to rest up in this area here. It seems the most defensible. No, I think this area would be, but regardless, I did roll for any evening encounters and there wasn't any. Right, before they go to sleep, Liz still can use a charge of the Staff of Healing. She's down to 6 hit points. And good, that is another 7, she's up to 13. So it's been some time since the party have been in this condition. We'll make dinner for tonight and we'll take water from the stream carefully. It is filled with piranhas. And the goblins have a fire pit which they use to cook themselves. It's not that great, but we have our own pots and pans, so we'll use that. And we'll sit with Babushka and she will ask us about Sukuskin. And Cherkis will tell her that Cherkis has been burnt to the ground, though she can resign herself to that one. We'll tell her that Sukuskin survived an assault, at least that's some good news. And she herself makes a mean stew, even though we tell her to ease off and to relax and get some rest in. I think her way of being grateful is to be useful. Right, I'm trying to find... Right. Ah, yes. I'd forgotten Kuzma, Pyotr's mother, aged 66. Well, Babushka and Kuzma know each other well, and she's glad Kuzma is alive and well. There are no evening encounters, and we'll wake up on Floormont the 19th. It's lightly cloudy, it's rainy, it's warm, and it's calm. So we hear the rain pattering on the roof of these petrified trees. Eventually, the rain will start filtering through the stone leaves and starting to drip on us. But it's morning, and everybody apart from Malin needs a dose of the Staff of Healing. Right. And Donard gets 5 points back, he's up to 10. Carrick gets a miserable 2 points back, he's up to 3. Sylvia does quite well, she gets 6, she's up to 9. And Liz gets another 6, and she's up to her max of 19. Right, we have 2 Cure Light Wound spells, and I think they both have to go on our dwarf, who has been a hero. And that 7 plus 2 is 9, so he's up to 12 HP. We're still not in good shape, but we're going to leave and make our way to the Viper Goblin Lair, then Sigenev, which, if I remember correctly, has been overtaken by the undead. I did the rolling for encounters off screen, just in case anything came up and I could prepare it. There wasn't anything. And they made it back to Sukuskin safe and dry. But let's see how long it should have taken them. Each hex is 3 miles, and they're going at 2 miles per hour. So they start here. It takes them 3 hours to go through 2 squares. 3, 6. Yes, that's right, that's the middle of the day. Then 9 and 12. At the end of the day, they end up in Sigenev. I will roll for an encounter. It's the evening. There isn't anything. So they're going to wake up the next day and we're going to go through the whole healing ritual again. Let's do the Staff of Healing. Alright, this time it's Donard who gets 2. He's up to 12. Carrick gets 7. He's up to 19. And Sylvia gets 4, she's up to 13. So we're going to do 2 more Cure Light Wounds, and we're going to do them both on Donard. And he gets another 9 points, he's up to 21, and things are looking a bit healthier. They'll wake up in the morning. They probably have about 2 days of dried rations left. They wake up on Gromdane the 20th. And the weather is slightly better, the rain has eased off a bit. And while all the morning rituals for spell memorization go on, Babushka again helps Liz and Carrick make the breakfast. She enjoys being useful. But it's going to take another day to get back to Sukuskin. I did roll for the encounters for that day and it came up with nothing. So we will leave the party in Sekuskin for a minute and we'll see what happens next. So the party have made it back to Sekuskin, safe and sound, and by the way, Babushka rode on the back of Liz's horse. And when the horses come clattering into the courtyard, everybody rushes out to greet us. They are again disappointed not to see Stephen there. At the same time, they're glad to see Babushka, a refugee from Cherkass. We're also quite loaded with gold, so we're going to deposit that in our rooms upstairs in the stables. We might as well look at this map again, and the stables are here. And we've just come over the bridge. All of this is looking almost as good as new. The refugees did pay for their lodging through hard work, and they indeed have put this place almost back to the way it used to be. The other thing we need to do is we need to level up Liz. Okay, she currently has 19 hit points. 5 of those are from her +1 constitution bonus, so she has rolled 14 hit points out of 5d4. That is slightly above average because the average is 12.5. So it really doesn't matter what Liz will get, she will be comfortably within average. But here goes. And she throws a 1. Okay, she's got 21 hit points and all her skills go up by 5%. Okay, so that's Liz's level up. And actually, I believe at level 6, she also qualifies for another training. I will have to look at the master rule set to confirm that. Okay, after I've totted up all the treasure that we have found at Wolfskull Lair, and there was a lot of it, I will see how close Donard is to leveling up. We take off all our armour, wear normal clothes, come downstairs, and everybody is gathered in the main hall around the table to listen to Babushka and her story. She does tell them the good news that Stephen is alive and well. She mentions they've gone to a place called Zataka, though nobody knows where that is, and it all seems to be because some guy who goes by the name of Skinny Legs is looking for a map. And Piotr just throws his hands up and says, "What? You mean to tell me all this destruction, all this death is over a map? If I had a map and I didn't know what it was, I would have just given it to him. If he'd come up to the front door and said, 'I'm looking for a map, it looks like this, and I'll pay you some money for it,' I would have said to him, 'You don't need to pay me, here, just take the map and safe travels.' But apparently not. Apparently, we have to destroy the entire area of villages, kill people, make them homeless to look for something that this person might have just been given if he had asked." Donard sort of whispers under his breath and says, "Well, probably it's because he's the villain of the piece." We're going to spend a couple of days resting up here to get back to full health. Malin will use the Wand of Magic detection on any found treasure, and the new shield +2 glows. Donard will take that. It looks slightly fancier than his current shield. And we will add his old shield +1 to the growing armory of magic weapons that we're leaving behind in the main hall. But the thing is, where is Zataka? Nobody knows where it is. But it's Kuzma, the old woman, and Babushka, who has great knowledge of the area. They suggest somebody called Loshad. We have met Loshad, but we didn't know his name, and Loshad is that cheval. Here, we're familiar with the giant black horse that befriended our own horses. However, we didn't know that Loshad is also a shapeshifter and can turn into a centaur. Now, of course, Piotr and Taras are very skeptical that Loshad would help them because this is a family of horse traders and Loshad is the guardian of horses. If anything, they're very much at odds with each other. But both Kuzma and Babushka shrug and say, "That's your only chance. But how on earth do we find Loshad on all the wilderness and the hillside?" And we're told, well, Kuzma suggests that he can be summoned by whistling at midnight on the high moor for 3 nights running while standing on one leg. As crazy as that might seem, it's the only lead that we have, and the party will set off, and during the several days of resting and healing, the party will take that advice and go onto the moors and whistle. They're not going to bother with standing on one leg thing. And we'll see what happens next. Does Loshad appear? Well, we'll find out next time. So I'll see you all then.